Hello YouTube, this is Killerninja1234. I am back again with the second part of the Undertale Sans theory by game theorists. If you want, you can go and check them out. Right now, we left off last time with the photos of people that you don't recognize. Now, remember I have played this, but I probably in the last video left a spoiler alert, because do not watch this video unless you have played Undertale, because I promise you it is an amazing game and you will enjoy it every one bit. It is best experienced that way, just like the game theorists said. Okay, without further ado, let's get through this.
Items oddly linked to the Mother series, but then how do the blueprints and broken machine fit in? Well, in the final story of Earthbound, Ness and his three friends must travel to the past in order to have their final battle against the evil alien Gygus. To do that, Dr. Andonuts, remember him by the way, he's going to be important later, with the help of the science geniuses Apple Kid and Mr. Saturn, create what's known as the Phase Distorter, a machine that allows people to travel through time and space. Except, it comes with a cost. It can't transport organic material. As a result, the young heroes must put their souls in robotic bodies to use the machine and thus save the world. I played this game back in 1997, and I'm not ashamed to admit that when I first saw this scene, I cried. It's devastating. Dr. Andonuts says goodbye to his son. These characters that you've grown to love and care about are suddenly promising to sacrifice their lives. For all they know, there's no possibility of them being able to come back home. It's this incredibly dark departure in the final moments of what was otherwise a fun, quirky, and colorful RPG. So what's all this have to do with Undertale? A lot, actually. But the first thing you need to know is that Mr. Saturns are known for their, let's say, unique linguistic
That's where the font came from. That's where that font came from.
I think a broken phase distorter is behind that curtain. Now that may seem like a stretch,
Awesome
but it
editing right
actually
there.
explains a lot. If Sans wound up in Underworld via a phase distorter, it could provide a reason for why he's a skeleton. He used the machine as organic matter and suffered the consequences. Not killing him, but turning at least part of him into a pile of bones. It would also explain why Sans has given up hope for going home. Remember, the distorter is a time machine. By being in Underworld, he's not only in a different place, but based on how he talks, he's also in a different time, with no hope of traveling back to the time he came from. But the crossovers between Earthbound and Undertale continue. When you speak to the Apple Kid at the end of Earthbound, he's blown away by the astronomical odds of Ness overcoming Gygus, saying that he's going to continue studying the trait called courage in order to harness his power. Seems awfully similar to the same experiments happening in Undertale around the trait of determination, no? Especially since so much speculation has circulated that Sans is a key player in those experiments. But I'm sure you also want physical evidence, right? Well, don't worry, because I have plenty. During one of the endings of Undertale, we see Undyne and Alphys hanging out on the beach on the surface world, a beach that shares a lot of similarities to the tropical resort location named Summers that you play through in Earthbound. In fact, the geographic layout of the surface bears some striking similarities to the world of Mother. When Undertale's crew of monsters are finally able to reach the surface and look out over the earth, they're met with a beautiful sunset falling across a landscape of a tall mountain, a large city, and a sandy area adjacent to water. Notice the sun's reflection to indicate water and a lack of trees in this middle section here, hence the sand. Well, in Earthbound, you have the big city of Fourside, complete with skyscrapers, which you reach via a desert that just so happens to be adjacent to the water. And to the east, the mountain in Onets, where a meteorite lands on Earth. I always called it Onets, but if that's not clear enough for you, Mother 1, Earthbound 0, Earthbound Beginnings, whatever you want to call it, it's had a lot of names, had a map laying out the same geographic landscape, a tall mountain to the east of a large city separated by a desert with all of it up against a coast. I don't know about you, but to me it seems like there's a definite connection between the world of Eagleland, again, unclear how it's pronounced, between the world of Eagleland and the surface world of Undertale. But the strongest physical connection, the one that definitely unites these two franchises, comes from none other than Papyrus himself. He wears a custom-made costume known as his battle body, but if you look really closely at the design of the armor, you'll notice some markings on the chest. Is it just a throwaway detail? Oh no! That right there is an exact match match to the ones that appear on the chests of Starman, the most iconic enemy of Earthbound. And look at the way he stands. I always thought it was awkward until I looked at the two characters side by side. Papyrus's curved arm and hand is a direct match to the curved arms of the Starman in the Mother series.
Way.
In short, we have some incredibly strong proof that the Earthbound universe is somehow connected to the Undertale world, which brings us back to our initial question. Who is Sans? Well, what if we took it one final step and said that Sans happened to be Ness from Earthbound, sent through the phase distorter during a test of courage, carrying the Franklin badge and his photo album in his trusty backpack. Not only do all the items in the workshop suddenly fit, but so does Sans' behavior. Remember, Sans can seemingly teleport, and Ness just so happens to have the PSI ability to teleport. Now look the way Sans always stands. Hands in his pockets, directly facing the camera. It's a very similar stance to how Ness is depicted standing in most marketing for the game. It even explains why Sans bleeds when you finally hit him. He is.
I always wondered why he did that.
Human. Oh, and finally, Sans is only one letter removed from being an anagram for Ness. That's just a fun one. I thought it was worth mentioning. But if there was any doubt, we have to look no further than the creator's previous work. Toby Fox, the man behind Undertale, had previously worked on a Halloween hack for Earthbound. But this just wasn't a simple reskin. The Halloween hack tells the tale of Dr. Andonuts after the events of Earthbound. Remember, I pointed him out? He's the one who made the phase distorter. In Toby Fox's version of the story, we see that after Gygus' defeat, the souls of the kids never return home. Instead, by going to the past to defeat Gygus, they create a new timeline that they're stuck in. As a result, Jeff never reunites with his father, Dr. Andonuts. And Dr. Andonuts goes crazy with guilt because he's the one responsible for creating the time machine and extracting the souls of his son and his son's friends to send them back to what he assumes was
the one robot was still wearing that hat.
In Fox's game, he's lost his mind trying to deal with that guilt. I'm telling you, this hack is dark. But that said, you see a lot of Undertale in this game. The appearance of amalgamates, the first use of the awesome song Megalovania, the prototypes for Flowey, and the theme of having the choice to be non-violent in an RPG, sparing your enemies. But then why's all this matter to the theory? Well, remember, in Toby Fox's version of the story, the kids don't come back. They're stuck in the past with no hopes of getting home. Just like Sans. And in the hack, one character is oddly missing, with no explanation as to why. Ness. Presumably in this timeline, his soul is in a different place than his three friends. Which brings us back to Undertale. 3 faces with "Don't Forget" written on it. It's Ness.
Another thing, look at his shirt. It's a striped shirt. Now look at Frisk. He's also wearing a striped shirt. Just wanted to point that out. Maybe there's a coincidence.
Ness trying to remember his 3 friends. In short, Undertale is a continuation of Toby's version of Earthbound, with Ness never being able to get home, adopting the name Sans, and accompanied by Papyrus, a former Starman, an alien force able to speak English and still equipped with his armor and signature posture, but without any knowledge of earthly things. Like the sun, the pieces all just seem to fit. And all we need is an appearance from Pokey/Porky, and we've got ourselves a true sequel. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Well, that was very intriguing. Now, I wanted to say a few things. That was a very interesting game theory. He never really ever does stuff like that. Let me explain to you. He never really puts out a spoiler alert unless he means it. Second of all, he cross-referenced more games than needed. And third of all, I usually don't really agree with his theories that much. No offense, Matt Pat. But anyway, I do agree with this one. Because Sans and Ness have a lot of similarities that I recently realized. Ness and Sans can both teleport, and that can also explain how he is able to also go from one spot to another without any explanation. Well, I'm running out of time here, but that was a very intriguing theory. But I fucked it up. But anyway, that was an amazing theory. I was very intrigued. Please, mention in the comments what you want to see next. I will upload this in a little bit. If you like the content and want to see more, subscribe. It really helps me out and motivates me. But without further ado, thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Bye bye!